In a world where the flash of a camera can freeze a single heartbeat in time, and where every headline ripples through the digital sea of fascination, the universe of celebrities unfolds like a constellation of stories, each star shining with its own rhythm and meaning. It begins with names like Blake Lively, whose elegance and confidence have become synonymous with effortless charm. Her journey through Hollywood is not merely a collection of roles, but a study in how grace can live within. Glamour, and beside her stand figures whose paths cross through art and life, like her co-star Jenny Slate, whose quick wit and disarming honesty transform comedy into poetry. Both women representing the many faces of strength in a landscape that never sleeps, and as reports swirl about depositions in courtrooms touching names like Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni, the world watches not in scandal but in curiosity, because every intersection in celebrity life reveals that even under the lights there are real people learning, evolving, and holding on to their values. And though Ryan Reynolds was not among those called to testify, his presence in this galaxy remains unmistakable. His humor, his charm, his balance of blockbuster fame, and heartfelt philanthropy embody the rare blend of authenticity and artistry that defines the modern icon. Yet beyond these particular names lies a tapestry woven from countless journeys, each thread glowing with triumph, transformation, and purpose. From Hollywood to London to Seoul to Mumbai, fame is not one language but many, and every accent tells a different tale of ambition and heart. There is Zendaya, whose rise from Disney beginnings to cinematic stardom feels like a fable of grace and courage she wears. Her success with the quiet assurance of someone who remembers where she started, and her voice resonates with a generation seeking to be seen and heard. Her fashion choices, her advocacy, her humility all combine into a living symbol of progress, and across the stage of history stands Beyonce, who turned music into movement and movement into empowerment. Her performances are rituals, her lyrics hymns of resilience. She speaks not just for herself, but for millions who find strength. In her rhythm and when she moves, the world listens because she carries legacy like fire. And as the lights shift, we find Rihanna emerging from the Caribbean sun to become a global powerhouse. Her voice, her brand, her inclusivity, reshaping beauty standards forever. Her empire stands not on exclusivity, but belonging. And when she appears on a runway or in a studio, it feels as though the world pauses to applaud what authenticity looks like at its peak, and beside her in this ever-expanding chorus is Taylor Swift, who turned diary entries into anthems and heartbreak into history. Every album, a chapter, every tour, a revolution. She writes not with ink, but with emotion, and her fans known as Swifties mirror her passion with an almost sacred devotion. She is the storyteller of a generation. Her pen shaping pop culture, her kindness reinforcing that even at the summit of fame, empathy remains the greatest art, and across oceans, another rhythm rises through the voices of BTS and Blackpink. Symbols of how Korean artistry conquered the globe through discipline, creativity, and connection. Their performances are bridges, their messages unifying millions across languages, and their charity work speaks of gratitude that fame has not dimmed, but deepened. And their fans' army and Blinks form one of the most powerful collectives of love. The world has seen proof that music is not just sound, but soul. And beyond music, the silver screen glows with figures like Timothée Chalamet and Florence Poe, actors who carry the sensitivity of a new age. Their presence defying conventions, blending vulnerability and power, proving that masculinity and femininity can coexist in harmony. Their red carpet appearances often feel like art installations, reflecting a generation that values feeling over facade. And when you look back at legends who built the path, Meryl Streep, Denzel Washington, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Viola Davis, you see the architecture of excellence crafted over decades of dedication, each one teaching that longevity in fame comes not from popularity but from purpose. And while some stumble and rise again, their stories become the parables of perseverance, like Robert Downey Jr., who turned chaos into redemption, whose return as Iron Man symbolized more than a career comeback. It became a universal lesson in second chances, or Britney Spears, whose journey from pop perfection to personal liberation redefined what freedom means in an industry that often forgets its humanity. These stories remind the world that stars are not born from perfection, but persistence. And the same fire burns in icons like Selena Gomez, who turned struggle into strength through her advocacy for mental health and her creation of Rare Beauty, a brand that celebrates individuality and kindness. Her presence online radiates calm honesty in a sea of noise and connects millions who find comfort in her words and in the realm of film. Another light shines through Justin Baldoni himself, who stepped beyond acting into storytelling and social reflection. His work in film and advocacy for masculinity and vulnerability, shaping a dialogue that is long overdue. And it is in that spirit of change that we find Colleen Hoover, whose pen has written dreams for readers across the world, proving that the written word still carries magic. Her novels, born from the quiet corners of imagination, have touched hearts across continents, and her rise from self-publishing to global fame is a testament to resilience and the endless hunger for stories that heal. And through it all, we see the threads that tie these figures together. The shared belief that art can save lives, fashion can inspire confidence, charity can heal wounds, and laughter can bridge divides. And so we turn to others who walk that same path, like Lady Gaga, whose creative courage turned her into both muse and messenger. She wears armor made of art and speaks of self-love and empathy, and every time she sings, she reminds us that the truest beauty is found in authenticity, and beyond her is Adele, whose voice carries the ache and warmth of every human heart. Her songs flow like memory itself, proving that emotion is timeless and truth never goes out of style. And then, there is Harry Styles, who spins color and confidence into anthems of individuality, reminding everyone that joy is a form of rebellion. And his concerts become sanctuaries of acceptance, where fans dance not only to the beat, but to the rhythm of freedom. And as these modern voices rise, they are joined by the timeless ones like Dolly Parton, whose kindness has become legend, her generosity in education and community. A reminder that fame can be a force for good, or Keanu Reeves, the gentle soul behind action hero roles, whose humility and compassion have made him a symbol of quiet greatness. Their presence proves that goodness does not need spotlight to shine. It glows from within, and in the evolving landscape of celebrity fashion, becomes more than fabric. It becomes expression when Zendaya embraces vintage couture, or Billy Porter redefines red carpet norms, or Rihanna creates inclusivity through design. They are all rewriting the story of beauty and belonging, showing that every identity has a place in the light, and this inclusivity echoes across music, film, sports, and art, uniting a generation that values meaning over material and kindness over perfection, and even in moments of safe controversy, when creative visions clash or opinions divide, they create dialogue, not destruction. They open the world to conversation and growth, showing that maturity can coexist with fame and humility can thrive in power. And so as the camera pulls back, we see the global constellation, once more filled with stars both rising and eternal, their light merging into one long, unbroken story about human potential, creativity, and hope. A reminder that whether it's Blake Lively's timeless elegance, Jenny Slate's wit, Colleen Hoover's words, Justin Baldoni's purpose, or Ryan Reynolds' humor, every thread contributes to the same tapestry, the one that tells us that fame is fleeting, but impact endures, and that the glow of kindness will always outshine the glitter of gold. And through that same light, we journey onward into the very soul of legacy, where every artist, every performer, every creator becomes both storyteller and symbol. Because celebrity in its truest form is not about perfection, it is about perseverance. It is the art of falling and rising, the endless choreography between doubt and destiny. When we look at icons like Beyonce, we witness discipline transformed into divinity. Her performances feel like living history, her voice echoing generations of strength, her artistry rooted in excellence, yet blooming in humility. She gives everything to the stage, but still keeps space for silence, for reflection, for purpose, her charity, her mentorship, her quiet support for education and equality shaping. A ripple far beyond the glamour, and beside her in this living pantheon stands Z, a mogul of music who turned rhythm into empire, yet never forgot the poetry of the streets that raised him. His success story reads like a manifesto for transformation, proving that legacy is built not only on talent, but on vision and resilience. And as their story blends with the voices of others, like Taylor Swift rewriting ownership and authorship, or Drake weaving introspection into global beats, or Ed Sheeran turning everyday words into anthems, we realize that fame is not one note. It is a symphony where each life plays a melody of hope and hard work, and within that sound we find rebirths and reinventions. Madonna and Lady Gaga teaching the world that evolution is the key to endurance, that image can be armor and expression at once. That reinvention is not a mask, but a message saying, I am still here, I am still growing. And then we turn toward those who faced storms and returned stronger, like Robert Downey Jr., whose redemption from personal chaos to Marvel legend became a modern myth, a story that whispers to millions that no mistake is final, or Demi Lovato, who stands unafraid to speak of healing, reminding the world that vulnerability is power, and Miley Cyrus, who after years of being misunderstood found her own authentic rhythm, proving that freedom and artistry can coexist without apology. And as the lights move across the Atlantic again, we see stars like Adele and Sam Smith, turning heartbreak into harmony, their lyrics offering comfort to the lonely, the grieving, the hopeful, showing that fame at its best is emotional translation. And then in the world of cinema, we remember legends who walked so others could run. Meryl Streep, Daniel Day, Lewis, Denzel Washington, Cate Blanchett. Each one a lighthouse of craft, precision, and truth. Their commitment to storytelling shaping generations of actors and audiences alike. And as new voices rise like Florence Pugh, Timothy Chalamet, and Zendaya, they carry that torch forward, blending the wisdom of the past with the pulse of the present, reminding us that legacy is not just inheritance, it is reinvention. And from Hollywood, we drift toward Asia once more, where stars like Sun Ye-jin and Park Seo-joon elevate Korean storytelling into universal poetry. And in India, Deepika Padukone continues to use her platform for mental health advocacy, showing that transparency can be as glamorous as diamonds, and that empathy itself can be revolutionary. And in Africa, the music of Burna Boy and Thames continues to echo across continents, reminding everyone that pride and artistry are intertwined, that success can celebrate origin, not escape it. And in Latin America, Bad Bunny reshapes what masculinity and artistry mean, dancing through barriers and expectations alike. His fame, a declaration of individuality and freedom. And then there are the quiet visionaries, the writers, the painters, the filmmakers whose names may not trend daily, but whose influence saturates the culture, like Oxygen, names like Jordan Peele, Greta Gerwig, Ava DuVernay, and Guillermo del Toro, who each craft stories that speak to the soul of humanity, proving that celebrity is not always seen, sometimes it is felt. And within that invisible fame lies the truest success, the power to make someone feel understood, to make a stranger somewhere whisper, "Yes, that's me." And even in the midst of public scrutiny and safe controversies, the artists who endure are those who remember that fame is borrowed, but character is owned. When misunderstandings or media storms arise, the mature ones use them not for drama, but for dialogue, reminding fans that even under pressure, kindness remains a choice. And that lesson ripples outward, shaping fan culture itself. Because modern fandom is more than admiration. It is community. It is people finding belonging through shared affection for an artist, for a story, for a song. We see this when Taylor Swift fans unite to help each other, or when Kpop fans raise money for charities, or when movie lovers celebrate diversity through film festivals. Fandom has evolved into a global family, powered by love and creativity, not competition, and through that unity, celebrities and their fans co-create meaning. Fame becomes participatory, a shared heartbeat between stage and crowd. And it is this symbiosis that defines the era we live in, an era where a single heartfelt post can spark empathy across continents, and where a concert can feel like a temple of connection, a momentary utopia built from music, lights, and shared tears. And when the curtains fall and the applause fades, what remains is memory, that soft hum of belonging that outlasts headlines and awards. And that is where true legacy lives, not in trophies, but in hearts changed. And somewhere within this great mosaic, we find Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, still symbols of wit and warmth, balancing careers with compassion, parenting with humor, philanthropy with playfulness. Their partnership a love letter to balance in an unbalanced world, while their peers like Jenny Slate and Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni remind us through their words and films that vulnerability is strength, and that storytelling itself can heal wounds unseen. These intertwined paths of art, love, and resilience form the architecture of fame as a force for good. A reminder that behind every name, there is a heartbeat, and behind every headline, there is a human being who dared to dream and to share. And as we gaze across that endless galaxy of creativity, we realize that celebrity, though often defined by light, is ultimately about gravity. The pull it has on our emotions, our hopes, our collective imagination. It keeps us looking up, not because we worship, but because we remember that stars both in the sky and in life are proof that darkness can still produce light. And as long as there are stories to tell, songs to sing, and hearts to reach, the world of celebrities will keep spinning bright, beautiful, and profoundly human. And beyond that glowing tapestry of familiar names, the story widens its frame to capture how fame travels across continents, shaping dreams in every language. For there is a pulse that beats beneath every spotlight, a rhythm that ties red carpets. To street stages alike, when we step from the Hollywood hills to the cobblestone squares of Europe, we find artists like Dua Lipa, born of Kosovan roots, crafting pop anthems that echo freedom and determination. She moves like light through the fashion world, blending heritage and futurism. Her confidence, a message to young dreamers. That identity itself is style. And nearby in London, Adele continues to show that authenticity never ages. Her laughter in interviews, her tear-soaked lyrics, her humility. Despite global reverence, all reminding us that stardom can still sound like home and further east. We cross into Paris, where the legacy of fashion meets the heartbeat of music as models, designers, and singers merge into one cultural language. We find people like Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet walking runways that feel more like theaters of meaning. Their outfits, stories of rebellion and rebirth, each step declaring that elegance and courage can coexist, and in Milan and Rome, fashion legends like Donatella Versace invite the new generation to speak their truth through design, proving that creativity is the purest form of dialogue. And from there, the camera glides to the bright kaleidoscope of Asia, where the stage lights of Seoul, Tokyo, and Mumbai glow with relentless brilliance in Korea. K-pop continues to break records not through formula, but through feeling, with groups like Blackpink redefining empowerment and BTS embodying brotherhood, humility, and purpose. They remind us that success without gratitude is hollow, and gratitude without action is incomplete. Their donations, their openness about struggle, their connection with fans form a living bridge of compassion, and in Japan, the artistry of film, animation, and music thrives, with figures like Hayao Miyazaki whispering wisdom through stories that outlive generations, showing that imagination is also celebrity. And in India, the color bursts of Bollywood shimmer with stars like Shah Rukh Khan, Deepika Padukone, Priyanka Chopra, and Ranveer Singh. Their careers carrying songs, stories, and social change, their philanthropy reaching far beyond screens as they support children's education, women's rights, and mental health awareness. Each one proof that fame can uplift, not isolate. And when we fly across the Atlantic to Africa, the rhythm changes again into the beat of Afrobeats and film rebirths. Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Thames lifting African pride to the center of the world stage. Their lyrics draped in heritage and hope, their collaborations with global artists proving that music knows no borders. And in Nigeria, in Kenya, in South Africa, the film industry blooms with bold new voices who use cinema to speak of both struggle and triumph. The continent's stars are no longer waiting for Western approval. They are creating their own spotlight, and the world is watching in admiration. And then the story curves to Latin America, where the passion of rhythm and narrative ignite from Mexico to Brazil, Colombia. To Puerto Rico, artists like Bad Bunny, Rosalia, and Shakira transform culture into connection, blending traditional roots with futuristic flair, and each performance, each festival becomes a statement that heritage is not a cage, but a crown. And as the spotlight returns to Hollywood, we see how interconnected everything has become. The American dream and the global dream merging into one digital constellation, where fans follow their heroes across time zones and platforms, where a tweet or an Instagram story can spark joy across oceans. The new celebrity does not live above the crowd. They live among them, sharing fragments of life, laughter, and loss through screens. And yet somehow it feels more intimate than ever before, and through this intimacy, fame becomes a mirror of modern humanity, reflecting our desires for beauty, justice, creativity, and belonging. When we look at figures like Selena Gomez speaking openly about healing and self-care, or Demi Lovato finding strength in honesty, or Justin Bieber learning to breathe again through faith, we realize that the glamour of celebrity is only half the story. The other half is courage. And even in the shifting noise of media and rumor, the ones who endure are those who stand. In truth, those who use fame as a vessel for empathy and evolution. And in the heart of this evolution stand the fashion visionaries who transform the stage into statement. Rihanna with her inclusive Fenty lines, Zendaya redefining elegance through diversity, Billy Porter walking red carpets like living art. Each moment a declaration that visibility matters and that beauty belongs to all. And then there are the storytellers behind the lens, directors like Greta Gerwig who bring empathy to cinema, or Jordan Peele who uses horror to explore humanity, or Justin Baldoni who turns film into therapy. They remind us that fame is not a goal, it is a gateway to conversation. And when Colleen Hoover writes tales that touch readers across the globe, she proves that celebrity in literature carries the same heartbeat as celebrity on screen. Every page becomes a safe place where emotion meets imagination. And somewhere in the midst of it all, the love story of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds continues to symbolize partnership that balances fame with family, showing that laughter can survive the spotlight and that kindness is the rarest currency in Hollywood. Their charities, their humor, their teamwork remind everyone watching that joy can be authentic even in front of millions. And while news cycles may flutter about cases and headlines and safe controversies, the deeper narrative remains how these individuals weave responsibility with radiance, how they carry art as armor and as gift. And in their wake, thousands of emerging artists find courage to begin for every Blake and Zendaya and Taylor. There are young dreamers uploading songs to the internet hoping to be heard, drawing fashion sketches on kitchen tables, rehearsing monologues. In quiet rooms, they are the next generation of stars, not yet seen, but already shining inside. And as this immense constellation expands across earth and sky, it teaches us that celebrity is not a crown worn by a few, but a mirror offered to all. It reflects what we value, what we fear, what we hope for. And when celebrities choose compassion over vanity, creation over competition, they remind us that fame itself can evolve, that it can be more than attention. It can be intention. And through that intention, the story continues, never ending. Never still, always luminous, like a song without a final note, drifting through the hearts of those who believe that art and kindness are the same light. And as the stars continue to move across the canvas of time, we begin to understand that celebrity is not just a product of culture. It is a reflection of our collective evolution. It mirrors how humanity learns, loves, and creates. Every era brings new heroes, new voices who redefine what it means to be known and admired and respected. We see it in how representation has blossomed in the 21st century, where artists of every color, culture, gender, and background now share the stage as equals, breaking the walls that once divided fame into categories. The rise of representation is one of the most powerful revolutions in entertainment, with trailblazers like Viola Davis and Michelle Yeoh, reminding us that talent transcends typecasting, and that perseverance is the foundation of progress. And when Viola accepted her awards, she didn't just thank her peers. She spoke to every dreamer watching at home, telling them that they too deserve to be seen, that art is not permission, but birthright. And Michelle Yeoh, with her radiant grace, became a global symbol of possibility, showing that time and culture cannot contain brilliance. And when we move to the younger generation, we find stars like Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Timothée Chalamet, and Tom Holland embracing vulnerability and kindness in a digital age that often confuses fame with perfection. They show that relatability is the new royalty, that authenticity is what truly glows. And this authenticity fuels the fan connection. That defines modern fame. Gone are the days when distance created mystery. Now closeness creates meaning. When a celebrity shares their story of struggle or triumph, it resonates in real time across millions of hearts like a universal heartbeat, and this shared pulse becomes activism, awareness, and healing. We saw this when Selena Gomez opened up about her mental health journey, transforming her platform into a safe space for millions, or when Harry Styles turned concerts into sanctuaries of acceptance, or when Billie Eilish used her voice to challenge unrealistic beauty standards, reminding young fans that self-love is rebellion. And as we look at the global landscape, we see how social media, though chaotic, has democratized inspiration, turning local talents into world icons like Lil Nas X, who rose from internet obscurity to reshape the sound of pop culture, or Emma Chamberlain, who turned authenticity into influence, proving that honesty itself can be a brand. And when content creators, musicians, and actors merge into hybrid artists, we realize the future of fame is fluid. It belongs to those who create, not just consume, who speak, not just perform. And in that new paradigm, charity and social work have become core to celebrity. Identity for every red carpet moment there is now, a cause behind it. Celebrities use fashion as activism, as we've seen with Rihanna's inclusive empire, or Zendaya's collaborations that center diversity, or Emma Watson walking runways while advocating for sustainability. Fame has learned to carry purpose, and through that purpose, the spotlight feels warmer, more human, less spectacle, more service, and beyond fashion. There are movements powered by artists who lend their time and treasure to change lives, like Angelina Jolie, tirelessly supporting refugees, Leonardo DiCaprio, fighting for the planet, or Chance the Rapper funding education in his hometown. They teach that the truest influence is measured not by followers, but by futures. Improved, and as the years turn, we also see generational bridges where legends mentor newcomers, like how Dolly Parton still inspires with wisdom and kindness, or how Taylor Swift supports emerging female artists, or how Beyonce highlights Black creators through her projects. This continuity ensures that fame is not fleeting, but generational. It passes like a torch not for competition, but for continuation. And across oceans, we witness similar ripples with stars like Blackpink mentoring younger K-pop artists or Bollywood icons uplifting independent voices, or African musicians collaborating to amplify local stories. The circle of fame expands in inclusivity and empathy. And it's here that we realize the modern celebrity is less a distant idol and more a cultural translator, someone who helps the world understand itself through beauty, rhythm, and honesty. And yet, even within this golden age of connection, challenges remain: the pressures of online scrutiny, the loss of privacy, the expectation to be perfect. But here too, the conversation is shifting as more artists speak openly about boundaries and mental health, transforming fame from a pedestal into a partnership. The relationship between star and fan becomes grounded in mutual respect, not illusion. And when we watch someone like Blake Lively use her platform with intelligence and warmth, balancing art, family, and advocacy, it feels like a reminder that celebrity can coexist with real life, that humor and heart are not opposites. And with Reynolds, her partner in both Laughter and Legacy, they prove that fame can amplify humanity, not erase it. They, along with countless others, remind the world that success without soul is empty. But when integrity guides ambition, the result is art that lasts. And when authors like Colleen Hoover or filmmakers like Justin Baldoni create stories that make people cry, heal, and reflect, they show that celebrity across every medium is storytelling at its highest form, a communion between heart and audience. And perhaps that is why, even as technology evolves, the essence of fame remains timeless. It is still about emotion, about courage, about daring to be seen not as flawless but as real. And as we peer into the horizon of what comes next, the metaverse, the AI collaborations, the digital avatars, we find that the human touch will always remain irreplaceable, because fame at its core is not an algorithm. It is a heartbeat, the pulse of humanity expressed through art. And whether that art is a song, a movie, a book, a runway, or a charity, it all points to the same truth. That connection is the ultimate currency. And the more we give, the more it grows. So, as the stars of tomorrow rise from unexpected places, as dreams take flight from basements, bedrooms, and street corners, we remember that fame belongs to the brave, the kind, the consistent, those who turn adversity into anthem and silence into sound. The world of celebrities keeps evolving, yet its spirit remains eternal, a dance between light and shadow, between aspiration and authenticity. And as the credits of this great documentary of humanity roll, we realize that the world does not look up to stars for perfection, but for proof that even in the vast night skylight is possible, and perhaps that is why we keep watching, listening, scrolling, hoping, because somewhere between their stories and ours, we find a reflection of what we might yet become. And that endless hope is the heartbeat of fame, forever luminous, forever alive. And as that heartbeat of fame keeps pulsing through generations, we find ourselves looking not only at the stars, but at the reflections they cast upon the world around us, because every celebrity, no matter how radiant or quiet, leaves behind echoes that shape the culture of tomorrow. The impact of their art, their kindness, their courage ripples outward, inspiring those who watch to become their own versions of brave. And this is where legacy truly lives, not in the marble of awards or the flash of cameras, but in the invisible places where someone's song helps a stranger heal, or a film gives a lonely heart hope, or a speech sparks a child's belief that they too can matter. And so as we walk through this living museum of fame, we begin to see it less as a hierarchy and more as a constellation of humanity, each star contributing its own glow, from the dazzling intensity of icons like Beyonce and Taylor Swift to the quiet strength of writers like Colleen Hoover and directors like Justin Baldoni, to the enduring humor and grace of couples like Blake Lively and Reynolds, to the poetic fearlessness of artists like Zendaya, Harry Styles, or Rihanna, and to the unwavering compassion of voices like Angelina Jolie or Leonardo DiCaprio or Oprah Winfrey. Each one holds a different note in the universal song of celebrity, and as time stretches forward, that song only becomes richer, because every era adds its chorus. The digital creators, the global musicians, the fashion innovators, the athletes, the activists, all blending their rhythms together into one global melody of inspiration. And in this new century, the boundaries between celebrity and citizen continue to blur, where fans become creators and creators become movements, where collaboration replaces competition and empathy replaces envy. And in that evolution, we rediscover the truth that fame is not an end, but a bridge, a link between what is dreamed and what is possible. And through that bridge, countless acts of generosity flow, from massive charity events to small unnoticed kindnesses, from building hospitals and schools to supporting causes that rarely make the news, from using platforms to speak for the voiceless to standing in solidarity when it matters. Most and through all of it, there is an underlying thread of love, because no matter how vast the stage or how loud the crowd, the center of every genuine celebrity story is love, love for the craft, love for the people, love for the chance to make meaning, and that love is what keeps the world returning again and again to the light of fame, searching not for idols but for inspiration, for proof that creativity can survive chaos and that dreams can thrive in any climate. And as we look back at the decades that shaped this golden mosaic, we see a lineage of resilience, from the silver screen legends who survived wars and revolutions to the modern stars who navigate digital storms and still smile through it all. Their ability to adapt, to create, to care becomes the most profound art form of all, and in the quiet after the applause, when the stage lights dim and the crowds fade, there remains something eternal: the stories, the laughter, the lessons, the legacy. Because celebrity, when lived with purpose, becomes a timeless dialogue between artist and audience, between past and future, between light and life itself. And perhaps that is why the fascination never ends, why we scroll late into the night watching red carpet moments, behind the scenes, interviews, concerts, speeches, tears, victories, all because somewhere deep down, we are not just observing, we are connecting. And through that connection, we heal, we dream, we remember that every star was once someone who dared to try, and in daring, they gave us permission to do the same. And now, as we stand in the glow of the present, surrounded by so many voices, so many visions, we realize that the story of fame is really the story of us, of our shared desire to create, to belong, to be seen, and to make a mark that lasts. And so the world of celebrities continues to spin, endlessly luminous, sometimes chaotic, always human. And the next time we watch an award show or listen to a song or read a heartfelt post from someone famous, we will know that behind it all, there beats the same universal rhythm, the heartbeat of hope and creation that connects us all. Reminding us that even as faces change and eras shift, the light of inspiration never dies. It only moves from one dreamer to the next, forever shining, forever telling us that we too can rise. If you love motivational storytelling, celebrity journeys, and cinematic narratives that feel like a friend talking to your heart, this video is for you. Comment below your favorite celebrity story and tell us who inspires you most. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss more inspiring documentaries.